Federal government says gradual removal of petrol subsidy starts April. Later on the show, we'll look at claims by CBN saying it has begged banks to come for new Naira notes, threatens to punish banks not loading ATMs with new notes. I'll be hanging out with Gani, Kaide Balogun, and Paul Dada. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Subsidy removal appears to be the position of most contestants in their political campaigns for next month's general elections. The federal government appears to be singing the same song by restating its commitment to halt fuel subsidy this year, much earlier than the earlier proposed date of June this year. Minister of Finance and Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, gave the hint on Tuesday, saying that the government may begin the gradual removal of petrol subsidy as from April. This has been the most difficult decision to take. It has taken us almost 10 years or more than that we've been talking about the removal of this subsidy. You do it, you're damned. You don't do it, it's a catch-22 situation. Now, if they remove this subsidy, there are merits and there are demerits. Exactly. At the back of my office here, I just discovered that sometime last week, I was just driving to the office and I discovered that, oh, no queue at all whatsoever. People were just, strolling in, buying whatever they want to buy and going. So the first thing I asked the attendant, said, how much? He told me 250. And I understood why people were just strolling in. So if you like, it's a class thing. If you can afford it, come, we sell, and you go. But those major marketers along the express road, you discover that you have long queues early in the morning because they know that they are binded by NNPC DPR rules that you cannot sell above the rates you got it from the depot.
Well, it's like we are between the devil and the deep blue sea. That's where it's been. But every rational Nigerian now knows, I think every knowledgeable Nigerian knows that the subsidy payment is not sustainable. We've talked about that. When to remove the subsidy has been the issue. But a time has to come when it has to be removed. And imagine what they are budgeting for subsidy between January and June. That's 3.35 trillion. That's the amount. Imagine what's...
For a year?
Yeah, no, we said it could be removed gradually instead of in one fell swoop. That's what she said. But what is important is that when you remove the subsidy, after you have removed the subsidy, what are you doing to cushion its effects on Nigerians? What I mean is this. It means that it will now be subject to what's called free market
force.
Market forces. But then you have to liberalize the supply chain. You understand? You have to liberalize the supply chain.
Your landing cost is 250. It's 300.
You have to make the local production of oil, refining of oil, virile. But that's the only way to go. If you do that, so that we're not talking of landing cost again. If we are getting this refined products locally,
yes, our refineries are working. Dangote refinery is working optimally and everything. Exactly. So we won't be talking about importing.
If people are still have to import, in case we cannot refine enough, let it not just be an NNPC thing. Let it be that certain persons bear the risk, and then people have options, whether to patronize them or to go for those who produce locally. I think if you don't put that in your plan, if you don't put the plan of refining locally in your plans, then we are just, the effect on the citizens won't be nice. It won't be something palatable. So as you are planning to remove the subsidy, nobody says subsidy should not be removed. Subsidy should be removed. But let us improve on our refining capacity. Everybody's talking about Dangote. Not only Dangote, we also have modular refineries. We also have, what's happening to our refineries? Those four are the issues.
GKB, this is not the first time that the federal government will be given a timeline that we are going to start the removal of subsidy. This is, I don't know, maybe this is for real.
Yeah, I think this time they are going for broke, because we all know the situation of our affairs, the way Nigeria's money is right now. So, and I think they are doing this basically as a compromise between pushing it to the next administration or doing it before the election. And I think it serves everybody well. If the next government decides to retain subsidy, they have to go back to the National Assembly and reintroduce it. So the owners will be on them. The outgoing administration will simply have left that to them. And if they did it in June, it may not even come to fruition, because the new administration may decide they are not going to remove anything anyway. So I think this is the closest we get to what will happen. But having said that, I think that as far as Nigerians are concerned, there are no subsidies on petrol anymore. Because once you can buy between 250 and 260 and 180 there, the market is already open. And I think if we are very careful, the spiral effects will not be beyond what is happening. Because yesterday I lost a tire, and to plug a hole is now 1,000 naira. 3 weeks ago, it was 300 naira. So the other factors of the economy are already factoring in there. What will happen? Because two governments have gone now, the Jonathan administration and the Buhari administration. They made promises about refineries, they made promises about buses and trains. All this has not come to fruition. So don't expect anything to happen between now and April. We are going to continue the way we are. We are going to keep suffering and smiling. We are going to ensure that, but let them remove it. Let us not pretending that there is a subsidy. So we know that whatever we are buying is what we are paying for.
Paul, the hardship is so excruciating in Lagos that we barely have lights. And you have to go to the filling station in search of fuel if you have the luxury of having your power generator at home. And, you know, I saw a lot of things, and I look, it's some days to the election, and the hardship people are going through. If you, all around Lagos now, traffic everywhere, just because of those filling stations selling. This is not good enough.
It's not good enough, and nobody seems saying anything about it. That's the problem. You talk about the issue of power supply.
Since it started, as in this fuel crisis,
you talk about
it has not abated since last year.
It won't abate. Like it won't abate. Even if it abates, it's going to be the same story all over. We have had this experience over and over again. You know, you have fuel scarcity, and then you have long queues, and then the next thing, the matter seems resolved. Not resolved, you know, and then a few months after, you have the same issue. So the only thing I think we need to do is just to make sure that these things are available. We are refining locally. That's the truth of the matter. That's what sort it out. Because people must buy fuel. There is no power supply.
No.
If you are not driving a car, you must buy petrol for your generator, because there are businesses, SMEs, small-scale businesses, barbers, they need to work, and they must buy petrol. Yes, hairdressers and companies, small-scale, even large-scale businesses. So people must buy fuel.
Small-scale businesses.
People must buy fuel. So I think that the country should start looking at, the government should look at this hardship. It's too much. It's too much. Find ways to alleviate the hardship of the people.
They've made promises for years.
But nothing is happening.
Nothing.
I don't know why we keep inflicting suffering on ourselves. I don't know what we gain by inflicting suffering on the citizens.
Because it seems as though those governments just don't want to tell us what the situation really is.
You know, when you talk to them, when you talk to NNPC, we say, look, we have abundant supply. The marketers will say another thing. And as the arguments are going back and forth, the Nigerians are suffering.
I know some independent marketers who will tell you to your face that there's no way on this God's earth you can sell at the official price. What's the landing cost?
The Lagos state government has declared a 4-day work-free day for public servants to enable them collect their permanent voter cards at their respective local government and local council development areas in the states. The head of service, Akim Muriokola, who confirmed the development, said the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, graciously approved the work-free day for public servants. He explained that the work-free day would commence on Tuesday, the 24th of January, and end on Friday, the 27th of January, for different grade levels of workers in the public service. DKB, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
And talking about government, wanted a kind of atmosphere for the workers to go and pick your 4 days will be enough if you don't have to go to work and you go to your local government, you go to your ward, you go to your unit.
Yeah, it is enough. Because I understand in the last few weeks, they've collected in Lagos average about 50-something thousand. This is a very small margin out of the 3 million that's outstanding. And like we said on this program before, it is the job.
I think we have the outstanding of 1-point-something million.
Yes, that's what I
and
heard.
by now,
Is it 1.5 or something?
From the high rise of about 3 million, it's down now. And I think they are doing it at an average of about 50,000 a week.
We're not doing badly anyway.
No. But what the governor did is what governors should do. Make sure that your people, the decision, of course, to vote is theirs. But make sure they have the card. So that if anything happens down the line, they have no moral rights to now complain that government is not working. Because right now, you can eat 50 million. That would be fantastic. The legitimacy of the election will be fantastic to anybody. Because only we do 34%, 35%, and a lot of people who talk on social media don't vote at all. But if out of that 3 million, we can get half, and unless around 42 million or 41 million or 50 million. And if governors could drive this process, and then on the day of election, people should go out of their way to go out and vote, our democracy will be the better for it. Because you must understand that the less people that vote, you are binded by whatever decision they took. You cannot run away from it. If there's 100 million voters and only 10 million showed up, out of that, the winner got 6 million. It's the decision of those 6 million people that will rule you for the next 4 years. And you have no choice in the matter. So the first thing is to make sure every living adult has PVC. So I commend the governors, those I understand, they are down to single digits, the number of PVCs they've not collected. But in states like Lagos, because of the population, or Oyo and Kano, those big states, the margin is also very high. And that to me is the reason why they must do this.
I think INEC, they want to do everything possible to make sure that nobody is, nobody is left out. Because they said 21st before January, they've extended it. And for Lagos state government to come up with this kind of thing, I think this is a welcome development.
Yes, I cannot disagree with what we are saying here. You know, just a few weeks ago, we were criticizing INEC that people couldn't collect PVC in some places, including Lagos. But I think that Governor Sanwo-Olu is giving an opportunity for those in the public service to determine their future. You know, let them go and get the PVC. I hope some of them will not be sleeping, will not see it as a day to sleep or that the wala of work, so I can rest today.
For those of them that they have their PVCs, it's a time to just take a time out to rest.
Just go. They should go and take it.
If you don't have, go and get
because
PVC.
when people don't vote, and they are complaining, it doesn't make sense. You don't vote if less than 50% of registered voters go to vote, and then you are complaining that the person there is not doing well. Maybe you could have made a difference if you had voted. Let Nigerians vote for leaders of their choice. If the leaders they voted for turned out to be bad, they also have a choice to vote the person out. So if you're not satisfied with the party in power, you can decide to vote out the party, or maybe a candidate if he's looking for second time in office or something. You can vote out the person. But if you just sit down there and you're complaining, you won't vote, I won't vote. So kudos to Lagos state government. We want to encourage those civil servants to make use of that opportunity. that is being given to them by the Lagos state government. Let them go out and collect their PVCs. And we also hope that they will not, all those problem, there won't be problem with logistics. Those people won't be frustrated. They won't go there by 8 a.m. in the morning and see long queues that will discourage them. That's also another thing. Because it's one thing to go to a place and say, I want to have my PVC, and then you are there and people are scrambling, and the officials are demanding money.
Officials and ad hoc staff should not use that as an avenue to make money off our people.
Exactly.
This process should not be commercialized in any way.
I hope there's also a way to monitor what these people are, what the staff, the INEC staff and the ad hoc staff are doing.
I think
there should be a monitoring.
They made a statement about people not giving money to. But I also think that in most democracies, as you are aware, is the elected officers whose job mainly is to get people out to do stuff like this. All over the world, the local government chairman, the equivalents, that's their job. Councillors, or in some places they call them aldermen.
But in Nigeria, some people don't even know their councillors. Some people don't even know their local government.
Most of us.
Yes, I used to know a local government chairman. He's late now. Who after he was voted to power, he left that area and back to Lekki Ajah area.
No,
you understand? Some people don't know. They don't know their chairman.
The chairman
if you ask everybody who is the governor of Lagos State, they know. They know his face. Even children, 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds know. So who is the chairman of the local government? They don't know. Who is your councillor? Which councillor is representing your ward?
We have a councillor in my area, in my estate, that we've not seen since the second day after the local government elections. And I would not, if I should hit him with a car, I would not know who he is. And this is the man that was knocking on my door as the PRO of the estate almost every day to canvass for votes. So I think the best thing for parties, whether ruling or otherwise, is to also get into this and not leave it only to civil servants. Exactly. Ensure that people go out, get their PVCs, market women, market leaders, all over the world. Because the more people that vote, the more authentic, the more generic the result will be at the end of the day.
Now, the collection of this PVC, does it in any way reflect the level of political awareness, the level of enthusiasm that our people has been expressing before this general election? You know, when you ordinarily before, the youths, they are always laid back when it comes to this process. But right now, if you see the statistics,
is biting you 6 months ago, will not be biting you today. So the rush for PVCs at the point in time may be driven by something entirely generic. But now that problem has been solved, or part of the problem has been solved, and they go back to their share, as it were. That to me is the danger. Because if you have 3 million voters, about half of them are under 18 or under 34. I'm not really sure now. Those are the people that will be driving the democratic process, because it's their future. Anybody over 60 is already on their way to retirement. Not die, retirement. So it's the young people whose future is on the line, and they must come out and vote. Like you said, they cannot keep pretending that things will get better if they don't take part in the process. Because I told the story before. The place I used to stay in London, the constabulary, the man who now does the foot soldier, what you call it, foot policeman, knows me. Because I don't live there, I only come in once every year. But he's aware of those who are regular here. No, most councillors don't know people on there. For them to even go to their side, you remember that year in the US, where the snow was very bad. The older man and the mayor, they know those who live alone, those old women, and they went out of the way to take them to shelters. The councillor who doesn't know where you live, doesn't know your status, is the one that will know what to do when there is a flash flood or something that bad.
To rescue you.
We take the good part of, we take the beneficial part of democracy.
But on the issue of,
then we leave the
on the issue of heightening awareness, I think that it's going to be different this time. I think people actually want to vote, especially with the BVAS technology. The BVAS technology, gives the citizens some confidence that, it makes rigging, if not impossible, if not entirely impossible, minimizes the chances of rigging. Maybe what people will just do now is more vote buying. Buy, just go and induce people with money and all of that. But the technology that INEC has put in place could inspire people's confidence. If at the end of the general election, people can see that, okay, even if my preferred candidate did not win, but I cannot in a good conscience say that this person was rigged in.
Because I trust the system.
Yes, they saw. If people want to be honest with themselves, they'll say, okay, although my preferred candidate did not win, I can say that this person is actually the
preferred by the majority
of Nigerians or majority of citizens in that state or senatorial district constituency. So that's it. I think people want to vote.
Another part of this, before we go, another part of it is after collecting the PVC, some people tend to sell their PVCs. And some, we have ready-made buyers.
Exchange?
Yes, in exchange for money, 10,000, 20,000. We've been hearing of this. I don't know to what extent.
Poverty is a major player when it comes to this like this. Then number two, even with beavers and this, people believe that immediately after the votes are counted, they will not see these people for the next 4 years. It's a belief that is based on experience. No matter the structure that we put in place to ensure free and fair elections, our people don't see our elected officials after the votes have been counted and a winner had emerged. And that is the experience that's leading to what you said. Because some people who have the idea that this one will come back will not sell their votes. But if you know that after this, I probably not see for the next 4 years. So, what the heck?
All right. We go for this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this timeout. Please don't go away.
My sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
The ministry in the 9 states also embarked on housing projects. And again, some of the estates are completed, some are ongoing. And if you look at the next slide, we have photographs to show what we have been able to achieve in respect of these housing projects. For education, it's 9 number textbooks and other educational materials. The ministry on its own also granted scholarships and
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our country one better. Nigeria one better. Who go do one for us?
Yeah, so people of Nigeria, they jolly for the better when one shele for we country. So as they ready to vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, I ain't get the experience where you go fit use take make our country better. People of Nigeria, for this and many other better things when in don't vocalize, it good make we all vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
You will need
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria, and I have Ganika Balogun in the studio and Paul Dada. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for staying with us. Now, as the petrol scarcity across the country continues to linger, oil marketers have accused the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, company limited, of politicizing the supply process and making vain promises. The oil marketers, under the aegis of Independent Petrol Marketers Association of Nigeria, claim that they have not gotten fuel, despite assurances from NNPC in December they would receive direct product supply at the government-regulated price of 148 Naira per litre from this month. The chairman of Satellite Depot, Ipman Akin says authorities are playing politics and oil marketers union do not see the situation abating soon. Yesterday I read that they brought in some vessels that contains maybe 90 million liters. I don't know what the estimation was, but I'm sure they need to do everything to put an end to the hardship of people.
Oh, you heard
across
it.
the country, yes.
Yes, there are so many things we hear, but we do not see the manifestation of the things we hear. I mean, we don't see the practical manifestation of those things. The Melekari promised that the marketers will be given at 148 per litre, but marketers are saying we are getting for, is it 235, 245 from the depot?
231.50.
Okay, if you are getting at 235 per litre, how much do you want them to sell it? No, how much do you want to sell it? So you keep getting the fuel at 270. And the black market operators will take advantage of that and sell to you at 300
or 400.
Well, sometimes I wouldn't lie to you, I go to the black market. But I go to the black market and I get it.
To lie about.
Yes, now I get it. When I see the queue, or when the fuel station closest to me is not selling, and I don't want to go through stress, I just go to 300 per litre. Go to black market, I get 300 per litre. That's what I do. You know that it's convenient, but because I must use fuel. So when we hear, sometimes I think it's almost like a sick joke, because when you say some vessels have arrived, brought in fuel, are you lying? Where is it? When you say you will release this thing at this amount for this price, and it's still not happening, are you joking? Are you playing? What's wrong with you? So that's the question we should be asking them. Okay, where is it? Why is it not happening yet? You made a promise in December. The reverse is happening in January. What is wrong with you? Are you for real? Are you competent? Are you a liar? Are you playing pranks? The people play pranks on. Is it a prank?
For months now, we've been faced with this situation.
Yes, that is it. Is it a prank? Is it a comedy show? You know, people do all sorts of pranks on social media now. And then if you are a prankster, leave that place. Go and do social media. Go and do prank on social media. You cannot be playing. They said you cannot be playing politics or with people's lives. This fuel is very important to us. Yeah. Everybody, the high and the mighty, the rich and the poor, they must use fuel because the cost of fuel affects everybody. It affects the cost of transportation. It affects everything. It affects the cost of buying goods and services, even the smallest items. It can affect the cost. So what are we playing? Are we joking here? So they should do something about this and stop this rigmarole, this nonsense they are doing.
GKB, Paul is charged up. He's so hungry, and to cool down the temper, let me allow you to a little bit. But the thing there is that I think the federal government, I don't know, maybe they have a punitive system, as in if there's a kind of infraction that this government has been kind of docile. Everything, we just allow it to linger months.
Actually, Nigerians living outside Lagos and Abuja will tell you this is the status quo. Now, for almost 10 years, areas that they've not seen official price to buy. What they normally do is to ensure there's enough supply to Lagos and Abuja, so that people like Paul will not be able to get agitated to the level. Obviously, that system is no longer working. Because I spoke to somebody in the hinterland, and I was doing what you are doing, and he said, look, GKB, we've been going through this for a decade. There are areas in the east, they pay 300 Naira per litre. There are areas in the north, they pay up to 350 per litre. They've been doing this for a decade. What the Nigerian elite was doing, was to ensure that the major centers are supplied enough so that they will not make the usual noise that we make. Like I said, the system obviously has failed, and everybody's now feeling the pinch. I spoke to a couple of independent marketers, and they think that anything that came out of NNPC or any of their
affiliates
is a one big sick joke. Because a lot of people have paid for supplies since December. Maybe they are lucky to get one tanker or two, and they've paid up to 10. I mean that the money is already somewhere. And once they call them, they'll pay the money at the official price of 148. But they have nothing to supply with. Nothing. In fact, he told me that if the people who run the major operations, the mobiles, all the big operators, if they should come and tell you the overall cost of what they are going through, that you pity them.
That's it.
And because a lot of promises were made that please go ahead and sell at this amount. There will be reimbursements, and nothing is happening. And that if you are not careful, by the end of this month, the Nigerian system is simply grind to a halt. And that's the problem challenge we face right now.
Okay, I have this caller. Jakub is calling us from Dokpamu in Lagos.
Good evening, Ayo. And then the other two gentlemen in the studio. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, it is only this country that I've ever seen a ruling party. When we have election less than 2 months, and then you are a ruling party, and then the petroleum price is scarce like this to see. Even when we are seeing, Ayo, let me even tell you, these people, if you go to a filling station, some of the attendants, they will make you know that this 169 or 170 that we write, it is just a figure. The actual price, it is 200 plus. And then even you buy it at that price, they will sell 4 liters for you in the place of 5 liters. You get it? Even the money that we are talking about, I don't know, I'm sorry to debate. I don't know how the central bank is going to do it. A lot of the old money, old currency is still circulating. And then we have less than 1 or 2 weeks. What are they doing to that? Thank you.
Thank you, Yakub. Thank you, Yakub. If this situation, we cannot afford to persist. It's just...
There's something he said which is very instructive. That does it mean that the ruling party does not want to continue in office? You know, because in other places, this is the kind of thing you use to measure the performance.
Do you think there are some saboteurs that are bent?
Whatever, if there are saboteurs, flush them out now. Those saboteurs, are they in the bush? If people know what is happening, there are people who know the actual reasons why we are not enjoying fuel now, why we are not getting them in abundance, why we are not getting it in abundance, rather. Now, if it is the work of saboteurs, deal with the saboteurs. Are the saboteurs stronger than this country? Why the masses are suffering? The masses cannot get the smallest things in this country easily. And then, if there are saboteurs, who are they? Are they faceless? Flush them out.
Let me remind you that those who brought in contaminated fuel 2 years ago are still at large.
Today.
We don't punish criminals in this country.
No, there are no consequences.
We even reward them, give them positions.
And again, like I heard somebody ask me this question on radio, the current president is no longer running. So if this were to be his second term, maybe some things would have been different. But the man is no longer running. So maybe that's why we are not getting that kind of outreach that you mentioned. Because I cannot really understand for the life of me why people allow their people to go through this level of pain and suffering. I don't care.
What do we gain from inflicting pain on people?
From that question now,
what our gain? What exactly?
I gathered that some commercial bus drivers, they will just get to the bus stop in the morning, and a route they call 200 naira before, they will just call 500 naira. Nobody can do anything about it. That if you like, you come in.
You can't blame them. You have no choice. You have a place to go. You go.
It's economy now.
It's not their fault because they themselves know what they go through to get this fuel. They know what they go through. They are human beings. They also want to make money. I mean, they want to have profits. They have families. They have responsibilities. They have to feed. So the citizens bear the brunt.
I think the problem is essentially what you said earlier. That because there are no consequences, So there's no need for them to do it any differently. Because you and I know that for 10 years, no, since Jonathan's, is that 2010 or 2012, the rally at
the Occupy Lagos, I mean?
Nothing has changed.
I have a Prince calling us from Ikeja.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Prince.
Yeah. Now, I don't think these people know what Nigerians are going through. I mean the ruling party, the APC. I don't think they feel it. And I don't even think if we have a president again in this country. You understand? I don't think. What Nigerians are going through, even the blind can feel it. You understand? And you think that with this, APC is coming back? You think with this?
We know about that one. After February.
The next 30-something days.
We know whether APC is coming back. Whether this will significantly affect the chance of APC, we will know.
Because for some reasons that are odd, people are not equating the party in power.
But the truth of the matter is, we also fared bad when PDP was in power with regard to oil matters. So I don't see any difference. I don't see any difference.
Those who run this country are Nigerians, and whatever
exactly.
party platform.
I think it's not. Yes, it is true that the government in power party in power should fix it. But what is even the guarantee that another party will have fixed it if it's another party in power?
What is even amazing when people talk like this is that imagine the subsidy being removed totally in April. The new government will come in on May 29. Now by then it will be biting hard. That person already comes in.
No, subsidy is going in June.
Okay.
No problem.
Fully in June. Yeah.
Yeah. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says that it has been begging banks to come and collect the new 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes. The Apex Bank also disclosed that it stopped withdrawal to curb the abuse, adding that the disbursement of new naira notes has been restricted to ATMs in order to ensure access to all bank customers, while appealing to the public to go and deposit their old notes. He averred that there is no plan to extend the deadline for the public to deposit their old notes beyond January 31st. So if you're still carrying the old notes, I still have some with me, and I don't know.
You want new notes?
I want new notes, but
want new notes?
the irony.
I'll tell you where you can get new notes.
Well, I owned a new 1,000 naira note for the first time today.
Congratulations.
Before today, I almost didn't want to spend it. It was almost like a price.
No, I can tell you where you can get new notes. And you don't have to use ATM. Just go to a party.
It's true. What you said is true. You know, I told you about a banker who said, even the banker who said he had never seen the new note until they got to a party.
Go to a party.
That's what the banker is very unfortunate.
I was at the party at the weekend.
What I see,
and the amount of new notes in that party will not be less than 3-4 million naira.
I find something amazingly ridiculous here. What Central Bank is saying, I find it amazingly ridiculous. Central Bank is telling us that putting the blame on the banks.
That they've been begging commercial banks to come and collect.
I don't understand that. I don't understand.
I think it's tongue in cheek.
How can CBN say that the commercial banks are so daring that you tell them the notes are available and they sit down, they say we will not come and get the money? Are you joking? So I think there is no deliberate effort. I don't know what is happening. I don't know whether some people are playing games, you know,
or sabotaging the system.
Sabotaging the system. I said it on Sunday when I came here. I would even, this one they are saying that you won't extend the deadline. To me, they don't know what they are saying.
That's the joke of the century.
That is the joke of the century. Make the old notes and the new notes, make them available. Phase out the old notes
over time
gradually. Personally, I would recommend 6 months. People will wake up one day and discover that the old notes are gone.
Mop it up gradually.
Yes, gradually. They will just see that the old notes are no longer available. I'll keep saying this. I pity those petty traders. Because if you cannot get to the bank, we're talking about even rural areas where there is one bank, where there is no bank at all. They will wake up on the 31st of January and discover that the loads of Naira notes they have become worthless. Useless. Some people will cry.
Yeah, because I cannot really wrap my
some people will cry on that day.
Around these things. Because every decision taken by the CBN in the last 4 months marks or sabotage or incompetence or both. Because I cannot for the life of me see how you need to set up a military type deadline for your currency. When this can be done, anybody in economics 101 will tell you that when it comes to currency change, you give it time. And then mop up the old notes yourself. So you not even know it's out because you get to a point you don't see the old notes anymore. Same thing applies to the change of collection, of sabotage our country. Or maybe because they didn't get what they want, or they didn't get what they think they will get. Because I don't understand. I look at the need for mop-up, I agree. But mopping up should not be a 3 or 3 first day of February. There are people in the rural areas with the old notes. And they need it to put it somewhere. And my prayer is that it doesn't lead to violence and arson. Because if somebody's been working for years and he took his old notes and he couldn't get it done, only God will tell what he can do. And you and I know that. The security implication of ensuring that this thing stops on that day is massive.
The way the Apex Bank, the way they are sounding is as if they will not extend this date.
Yes, that's the way they are sounding. I think they will keep sounding like that until they are forced to extend it. I still think
because the president will have to come in.
Yeah, well, honestly, even the president doesn't have to come. It's just because of the way Nigeria is. You understand? Even the president doesn't have to come in. CBN is empowered by our laws to make monetary policy decisions. Now, the federal government deals with fiscal policy. CBN deals with monetary policy. So CBN is empowered to do what it's doing. Nobody doubts that. But CBN must think about Nigerians, because it's Central Bank of Nigeria. It's not Central Bank of the jungle. You understand? It's not Central Bank of nowhere.
And it's not Central Bank of Emefiele.
Exactly. It's not Central Bank of Emefiele. So when Emefiele and his team, when they are thinking, they should think about Nigerians. Sometimes they behave as if they are living in alternate reality. Does Emefiele know that there are areas?
Okay. Let me quickly take this break. We'll be right back.
For Nigeria, oh, better days are coming. Better days that gives us hope and strength.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. The firmament portents a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Vote Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
When we assumed office, we were in the old secretariat, and that our office was an eyesore. I took the bold step to inspect the abandoned building that is now housing the Ministry of Women Affairs. It was abandoned for 14 years. I wrote Mr. President, I said, I want him to support me to ensure that this edifice is completed, for him to commission it in the next few months. He said, am I sure? I said, yes. Within 3 months, when I talked with Mr. President, he ensured everything was put in place, and this edifice was commissioned on the 16th of January 2020.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thank you for staying with us, and we're still looking at the currency situation. That the new Naira notes, yes. 200, 500, 1,000 Naira, I've seen 1,000. I've not seen 200 and 500. And we're told that these ATMs will not be disbursing 1,000 again. That the maximum it will be disbursing maybe 200 and 500 Naira notes.
So I won't even quarrel with that one. If it is to encourage cashlessness. I don't have any problem with that. That one for me it's okay. The only thing is we need to just work on our what's it called now? E-banking. But some of those things can fail. I remember I was trying to transfer money to someone via USSD. I tried for almost probably to 48 hours. It was failing. One of the banks was failing, and the person needed money. So they just need to work on that. I people should learn to carry less of cash for their own security, for their own safety. So even if they say 200 is the maximum amount you can get from ATM, that's not the problem. The major problem for me now is extend this deadline. I was going to ask whether Emefiele realizes that there are villages, there are communities, so many communities in this country that do not have banks, that the nearest bank may be in 5 communities away. And then when you go there, and when there's a rush to take the... Okay. And then you have so many people...
Bunga is calling us from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, Bunga.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You see, it's appalling that those who are complaining that petrol subsidy is a scam are the one now saying that it should not be removed, that if they remove, people will suffer. I mean, we can't do without, I mean, we can't continue to do with this subsidy. It's really eating into our fabric of our nation economy and our resources. That is better, we remove it. Let me tell you something. This government, they weigh the option that if they remove it now, it might affect this election. That's the reason why they kept it there. By April, they said they should remove it. That will be the big man and neighborhood country. We should do away with it. It's not doing any good at all. It's not doing any good. It should be removed as early as possible. That election. Thank you.
Thank you, Bunga. Thank you for your contribution.
Nobody supports that subsidy should be retained. But what we are saying is that when you remove subsidy, make sure that
intending a ship.
Exactly. You do something.
Come with it.
Nobody. I don't know what he means. The caller meant that we were in support. That we were against. Okay. So I hope that's not what he meant. We have said it that subsidy. Every Nigerian, every enlightened Nigerian knows that subsidy has to go sometime. You understand?
We are hoping that by now there will be 10,000 buses.
So the CBN governor is meant to meet with governors today. I don't know. Maybe that meeting.
Is he back?
He's back.
Yes, he's been back. To meet with governors, and let's see if that meeting will hold, because the governors are the representative of their people. They want to ask questions. They want to know, and I'm sure they will want to push for a kind of shift in this 31st dates, because it's not looking visible.
Like you said, and like we've all agreed, the first point is that don't stop people from bringing the money or spending it. Use your own tools to ensure that whatever comes in does not go out again. That's all you need to do. If they have done this 2 months ago, that they stopped dispersing the old notes, by now the level of complaint will have gone down to only the rural areas. But most urban areas still get old notes from the ATM. And like I said, if you really want new notes, I've told you where to get them. And it's against the law, but people are still doing
it. Yeah. If the governors are meeting with the CBN, where the CBN governor, they can only persuade him. But I think the CBN governor should try and listen to people. It's not the wisest person, and like I said, it's CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, and there is no Nigeria without Nigerians. So if Nigerians are in pains, and if governors are saying, look, our people are in pains, Emefiele, do something about it, I think you should listen. This sticking to your gun January 31st, or like the laws of medians and what's it called? Medians and in the Bible, that is not that cannot be altered. That is it's just like that. It can't medians and partials. So it can't be like that. So this is a democracy. Think about other people. I mean, your policies must have a human face. That's it. That's all we're asking Mr. Emefiele to do.
Okay, I think We have to wrap up. That's Paul Dada. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ganika Devalu. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, and that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. You can catch us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday between 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. See you next week, and God bless Nigeria.
Shallow, why it's okay, make you chillax like it's your by day. Anything you want to do it on, if you do, I'm no need to delay. You no need to stress yourself, eh? You got that world in your hand. Living like a baby girl for life, make the people know.